Let me tell you a short story. There was a man who worked 12 hours a day building a business nobody believed in. Friends stopped calling. Family said he was obsessed. Weekends went silent. Birthdays passed unnoticed. At night, he questioned himself. Not once, every night. Years later, those same people called him lucky. They said it happened fast. They never asked about the silence that built it. That silence is where power is forged. That silence is where Machiavelli would smile. Because solitude removes illusion. When you are surrounded, you perform. You adjust, you edit yourself. When you are alone, there is no audience and no mask survives long. Loneliness strips you down to what is real. That is why it hurts. You are forced to confront questions most people avoid forever. Who am I when nobody is watching? What do I actually want? What am I afraid of losing? Those questions burn, but they sharpen. Machiavelli understood that power is not built on popularity. It is built on self-command, and self-command is forged in isolation, far away from applause and validation. Think about this. Every bad social decision you made probably came from fear of being alone. Staying too long, agreeing too much, lowering standards, selling your time for approval instead of respecting it. Loneliness feels painful because it removes the anesthesia. You are no longer numbing yourself with noise, messages, validation, or cheap dopamine. Your nervous system is recalibrating. That discomfort is not emptiness, it is withdrawal. You are detoxing from dependence. Here's the dangerous secret. A man who can sit alone without panicking cannot be controlled. He does not beg, he does not chase. He does not negotiate his values for company. That is why solitude terrifies society. Society is built on need. Need for approval, need for belonging, need for permission. Remove the need and the structure loses its grip completely. Machiavelli warned rulers about this. A man who fears solitude will always choose safety over truth. A man who survives solitude will choose truth even when it costs him everything. Think about warriors and wanderers in stories like Vagabond. Musashi does not become strong in crowds. He becomes strong alone, walking, fighting himself, cutting illusions one by one. Strength is lonely before it is respected. Now here is where most people ruin this phase. They confuse solitude with stagnation. Loneliness without direction becomes decay. Loneliness with purpose becomes a weapon. The difference is action. If you are alone and doing nothing, you are suffering for no reason. But if you are alone, building, learning, sharpening, planning, you are already ahead of 90% of people moving blindly through noise. Machiavelli had no respect for passive suffering. Fortune favors the bold, not the bitter. Use the quiet. Read what others are too distracted to read. Train while others scroll. Build skills nobody applauds yet. Think in decades while others think in weekends. Silence is not empty, it is loaded. It carries focus, clarity, and leverage for those disciplined enough to listen instead of escape. Here is another truth most people avoid. Many relationships exist only to prevent loneliness, not to add value. Remove yourself, and those bonds collapse instantly. That does not mean you failed. It means you saw clearly. Machiavelli said it is better to be alone than surrounded by unreliable allies. Bad company weakens judgment. Solitude strengthens it. Alone, your thinking sharpens. Surrounded, it dulls. Look around. Most people are never alone. They jump from relationship to relationship, group to group, noise to noise, yet feel hollow. Being surrounded is not the same as being supported. You are experiencing something rare, an unfiltered encounter with yourself. Yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, it exposes insecurity. Yes, it forces responsibility. That pressure is the point. In solitude, you stop blaming others because there is no one left to blame. You either improve or you rot. That decision creates men of substance, not men of excuses. There is a reason emperors, generals, philosophers, and creators all experienced withdrawal. Napoleon isolated himself to plan. Nietzsche walked alone to think. Machiavelli wrote his most ruthless truths while exiled from power. Isolation is not exile when used correctly, it is incubation. It is the quiet stage where ideas harden, discipline forms, and identity stops leaking outward in search of approval. Now let me be clear about something. Loneliness is not a permanent identity. It is a phase. This is the forge, not the throne. You are not meant to stay here forever. The goal is not to reject people. The goal is to stop needing them to feel whole. When that happens, something strange occurs. People return, but now they return differently. They return with respect instead of entitlement, with curiosity instead of demand, and you choose differently. You no longer accept proximity without alignment or noise without meaning. You become selective, that is power. Machiavelli believed fear and respect last longer than affection. But even more powerful than both is independence. A man who can walk away without fear controls the frame. He does not negotiate his values for comfort. He does not stay where he is merely tolerated. That is what solitude teaches you. How to walk alone without collapsing. How to sit in silence without reaching for distraction. How to stand without an audience. Here is the final test. Can you sit with yourself at night? No screen, no noise, no validation, and still feel grounded. If not, this phase is necessary. Because until you can stand yourself, no one else truly will. Loneliness forces the most important relationship of your life into focus, the one with yourself. Fix that relationship and everything else aligns. Break it and nothing ever will. This is why loneliness feels heavy. It carries responsibility. There is no one left to distract you from what must change. So if you are alone right now, do not rush to escape it. Do not label it failure. Do not numb it with shallow replacements, use it. This is where weak habits die and discipline is born. This is where false identities burn. Where motivation is replaced by structure. Where you stop hoping for change and start becoming the cause of it. And when you finally step back into the world, something unsettling happens. You're no longer impressed by crowds. You are no longer desperate for approval. You are no longer afraid of silence. You have been to the desert and survived. That experience changes you permanently. It makes you dangerous, not loud, not aggressive. Dangerous because you are no longer dependent on reaction, validation, or permission. Machiavelli would call this real power. Power that does not need witnesses. Power that does not beg to be seen. Power that exists whether others approve or not. Power that remains intact even when you are ignored. So if your phone is silent tonight, if your circle is shrinking, if your path feels lonely, take it as confirmation. You are not lost, you are being sharpened. Easy paths are crowded, difficult paths are quiet, and the quiet ones are the only paths that lead anywhere worth going.